I like zombies. The Walking Dead, Train to Busan, Shaun of the Dead, The Last of Us, that one Zombie Apocalypse TV special by Darren Brown. These are some of my favorite pieces of zombie media. Hell, I've even read High School of the Dead, and I've watched both seasons of Zombieland Saga. I can't say the plot for the show is amazing, but the music does slap hard. It's rare to see a zombie anime, so when I found out we were getting a new one this season, I was pretty hyped. When I found out this anime was getting the VIP treatment with its own studio, I was freaking ecstatic. When I finished watching the first episode, it made me nuts. Sorry, I got a little too excited there. As of writing the script, only 3 episodes have been released, but it has been some of the best stuff I've watched this entire season. And this season's pretty stacked. We've got one of my favorite Jujutsu Kaisen arcs, we've got one of the best isekai, we've got the long-awaited second part of Thousand Year Blood War, even Masamune's Revenge is getting a comeback for some reason. But amidst this star-studded cast, Zom 100 has absolutely blown away all of my expectations. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's another one of those new seasonal anime that people are overhyping, but I'd argue that a lot of these new shows deserve this praise, like Oshinoko, Spy Multiplied by Family, and Bocchi the Rock. These shows go pretty hard. It seems that every season a new anime gets added to the list of greats, and I can't really disagree with how amazing these shows are. It kind of feels like a renaissance, to be honest. It just so happens that Zom 100 might be the newest addition to my personal Hall of Fame. Quick disclaimer, I have not read the manga, so I don't know how it turns out, for better or worse. I won't read it until the end of the season so that I don't get spoiled. With that being said, I heard the manga was pretty good, so let's hope the anime turns out well. And so far, it has been going pretty freaking well. More than well, I might even say. Like, this anime is simply mind-blowing. The animation, the music, the direction, everything. Before I even get into the writing, I have to give props to how the show looks. Nearly every zombie movie is just so dark and dreary because, you know, the world is ending. It makes sense for stuff to look like this, but Zom 100 has such a unique and vibrant color palette. Like, for real, whoever decided to make the blood so colorful is a certified genius. As much as I enjoyed the Chainsaw Man adaptation with its absolutely movie level quality, it just looks kinda drab. I don't know if it's just me, but I really wanted it to be as colorful as Tatsuki Fujimoto's artwork for his manga. Like, look at this stuff. With Zom 100's unique color palette, it perfectly reflects the main character's situation. To him, the world hasn't ended, it's only begun. Whenever I watch a show or read a story, I like to give it the goosebumps test. I'm not talking about the goosebumps you get when you're scared, I'm talking about that feeling of sheer catharsis you get when your favorite main character dies, when you see your favorite sports team win a huge match, when the main character, against all odds, finally defeats the villain. If something is good enough to give me goosebumps in the first few episodes, I'd say it's worth watching. The show might not always end well, but once I'm hooked for the rest of the ride, even if they decide to go to space for some reason. So, I shit you not when I say that I had the certified chills for more than half the runtime of the first 3 episodes. I swear, my body temperature dropped by like 20 degrees or something. It was that amazing. If you aren't already watching Zom 100, or even if you are, allow me to explain why this is my favorite show this season. Light spoilers ahead, by the way. First of all, what is Zom 100? Luckily, it boils down to a super simple concept. A zombie apocalypse happens, and so an office worker takes his opportunity to accomplish 100 things he was never able to do in his life. Yup, nice and straightforward. At first, I thought the show would end up being really cheesy because of how lighthearted it is. Like, who would be so happy to see the world end other than that one quiet kid in the back of class? Even Shaun of the Dead, despite being a comedy, acknowledges the gravity of their situation. Meanwhile, Akira, the main character in Zom 100, doesn't really see them as threats. In fact, in the second episode, he risks his life just to get some beers. I mean, can't say I wouldn't do the same, but at least I'd be a little bit reluctant. Though, to be fair, if I had this guy's biking skills and tackling skills, I'd probably be a bit more courageous. Part of me wants to commend his unending optimism, and another part just wants to, get over how stupid he is. Even this girl seems to think so. But that's the thing. Akira isn't actually stupid. What made me realize this was when he strapped a rugby ball to a car horn so that he could distract a horde of zombies while he rescues his friend. It's not Dr. Stone level shit, but he knows what he's doing. And speaking of rugby, the main character used to play the sport in college, which is how he managed to tackle this humongous guy in the first episode. When I talk about the show ignoring how dangerous zombies are, that also turned out to be a lie by the second episode. Before going out to get beers, Akira promises to get stuff for his neighbors, but when he gets back, they're deadzo. This event is what causes Akira to realize the transient nature of life, so he decides to write down the 100 things he wants to do before he dies. So yeah, here you have an active protagonist with a tangible goal. He's quite clever, athletic, and funny as hell. I might have had some reserves, you know, because he had some insane plot armor, but him surviving this long is pretty believable. If Akira isn't an absolutely amazing protagonist, I don't know who is. Of course, Akira isn't a static character either. Before the apocalypse, he was all doom and gloom, working for one of those infamous black companies that exploit their employees. He had such a rough experience that I couldn't help but feel happy for the guy when the zombie apocalypse happened. His sudden change in attitude, juxtaposed with the horrific apocalypse, makes for such a powerful emotional impact. Stories like this probably exist, but I've personally never experienced a story where the main character was actually glad the world was ending. Luckily, Akira isn't happy because he's all edgy and wants everyone to die. He's just happy because he's free, and who doesn't want to be free? The second member of the main cast is this girl, Shizuka. We haven't seen very much about her, but she's the foil to Akira. As opposed to the main character's carefree risk-taking, Shizuka is much more methodical and calculating. Instead of having a bucket list of things to do, she has a list of things not to do, actually. It's a bit on the nose, but interesting nonetheless. The third member of the cast is this guy, Kensho. Much like Akira, Kensho also hated his job, but it wasn't because of the company. He just despised having to lie to clients and practice scummy sales tactics. He also has a certain affinity for getting completely naked. Yeah, he feels like a Grand Blue character, to be honest, which is great. I freaking love that show. I also have to say that his arc absolutely slaps. It's simple, yes, and I knew he was gonna make the jump sooner or later, but it still hits so hard, like the way I wish his. The fourth member of the cast is this girl, Beatrix. We haven't seen her yet, but she'll probably get an introduction in the 4th episode or something. I don't know anything about her other than 2 certain characteristics. It's rare for me to love every main character in a show, but all of them seem like such fun people to be around. If only I can hang out with them in real life. Even if you're someone that doesn't work for an exploitative company, I'm sure you can relate to Akira's situation. It's just the same thing, day in and day out. Maybe you get home and distract yourself with movies and video games. Maybe you buy expensive things so that you can impress people. I mean, I'm guilty of all those things. On occasion you might hang out with your homies, but the cycle repeats the next day. It's just like Sisyphus rolling the boulder up the hill, only for it to always fall before he reaches the top. It's not just work either. When I was in high school, as much as I enjoyed hanging out with my friends, I hated having to take classes just for the sake of getting good grades. I never wanted to actually learn anything. I mean, blame it on the system and all that. I just wanted to get that A so that I could get into a good college and get a good career. This is why so many people cheat, even the smartest kids I know. Sometimes it's better to just get a good initial grade and then learn the material later when you have more time. There's so many things I want to do in life, but I don't know if I could do it all. I guess that's why I'm here right now, starting a YouTube channel, even though it'll probably lead nowhere. I do hope it'll lead somewhere. Like Kensho in the 3rd episode, I decided to take the leap and do something that could possibly make me happy, minus the getting naked part. Even if the world isn't ending, well, it might end pretty soon, to be honest. It never hurts to start your own bucket list. This is my sort of message in a bottle, to get my voice heard for once. I rarely give a show a 10 out of 10, only reserving this title for things that have really changed my life. Even though there have only been 3 episodes right now, this show has touched me on a far deeper level than 99% of shows that came before it, and I think it might touch you too. Not in a weird way, hopefully. But yeah, I pray to the anime gods that the show is gonna turn out well, because it's already one of my favorites. So what are you waiting for? The world might end pretty soon, so go ahead and ask out your crush. Go ahead and get wasted. Go ahead and call your old friend that you haven't spoken to in a while. And most importantly, watch this goddamn show. Well, that was my first video. Not really sure what I'm doing, so let me know how I did in the comments below. If you liked my stuff, you know, feel free to give me a sub, maybe even like the video if you're feeling a little spicy. If you didn't like it, well, sorry for your loss. Just make sure to hit the dislike button twice so that you can get double the damage onto my channel, you know. Show how much you hate it, you know. Also, let me know if there's any other topics you want me to make a video on, another anime or manga or something. And of course, if you don't take anything else from this video, the most important thing is that all of my opinions are correct. Unequivocally so. 100% so. You see, don't even bother arguing with me in the comments. I'd freaking win 100% of the time anyway. Like, don't even bother increasing my viewer interaction. It just bump up my video even more. Anyway, bye-bye.